Have you ever felt like there's a part of you that you keep hidden from the world? A side of yourself that you're afraid to show others, or maybe even afraid to look at yourself? This hidden part is what psychologists call the shadow self, and it's a crucial aspect of who we are. In this video, we'll explore the importance of shadow work and how integrating your dark side can lead to personal growth and a more fulfilling life. Let's start by understanding what shadow work really is. Shadow work is the process of exploring and accepting the parts of ourselves that we typically try to hide or deny. These are often the traits, emotions, or behaviors that we consider negative or unacceptable. The concept of the shadow self comes from Carl Jung, a famous psychologist who believed that we all have aspects of our personality that we push into our unconscious mind because they don't fit with our ideal self-image. But why does shadow work matter? Why should we bother looking at these parts of ourselves that we'd rather ignore? The truth is, shadow work is incredibly important for our personal growth and well-being. When we ignore or repress parts of ourselves, they don't simply disappear. Instead, they often show up in unexpected ways, influencing our behavior and relationships without us even realizing it. By doing shadow work, we can become more self-aware. We start to understand why we react in certain ways, why we have particular fears or insecurities, and what drives our behavior. This self-awareness is like turning on a light in a dark room. Suddenly, we can see things more clearly. We can make better decisions, have healthier relationships, and feel more at peace with ourselves. Now, you might be thinking that shadow work sounds scary or unpleasant. After all, who wants to look at their dark side? But it's important to clear up some common misconceptions about shadow work. First, it's not about becoming negative or dwelling on your flaws. Instead, it's about understanding yourself more fully and accepting all parts of who you are. Another misconception is that doing shadow work will make you a worse person. In reality, the opposite is true. By acknowledging and integrating our shadow aspects, we actually become more whole and balanced individuals. We're less likely to project our own issues onto others or act out in unconscious ways. So, how do you know if you might benefit from shadow work? There are several signs that indicate unresolved shadow aspects in our lives. Do you find yourself having strong, seemingly irrational reactions to certain people or situations? Do you notice patterns in your relationships or career that keep repeating, even though they're not serving you well? Do you sometimes feel like you're wearing a mask, hiding your true self from the world? These can all be signs that there's shadow work to be done. Other signs might include feeling stuck in life, experiencing frequent mood swings, or having a harsh inner critic. You might also notice that you're quick to judge others for qualities that you actually possess yourself. This is often a sign of projection, where we see in others the traits we can't accept in ourselves. If you've recognized some of these signs in yourself, you might be wondering how to get started with shadow work. The good news is that you've already taken the first step by becoming aware of the concept. Awareness is a crucial part of shadow work. The next step is to approach this work with an attitude of curiosity and self-compassion. One simple way to begin is through journaling. Set aside some time each day to write freely about your thoughts, feelings, and experiences. Pay special attention to moments when you feel triggered or have strong emotional reactions. These can often point to shadow aspects that need attention. Another helpful tool for shadow work is meditation. By sitting quietly and observing your thoughts without judgment, you can start to notice patterns and themes in your thinking. You might become aware of beliefs or fears that you weren't consciously aware of before. As you begin this work, it's important to be patient and kind with yourself. Shadow work isn't about criticizing yourself or trying to fix what you perceive as flaws. Instead, it's about understanding and accepting all parts of yourself, even the ones that feel uncomfortable or undesirable. Of course, shadow work isn't always easy. You might encounter challenges along the way. One common obstacle is resistance. Our minds are very good at protecting us from perceived threats, and looking at our shadow aspects can feel threatening. You might find yourself making excuses not to do the work, or feeling suddenly very busy or tired when you try to engage in shadow work. Another challenge can be intense emotions that come up as you explore your shadow. You might feel sadness, anger, or shame as you confront parts of yourself that you've been avoiding. It's important to remember that these emotions are normal and part of the process. They're not something to be feared or pushed away. To overcome these challenges, it can be helpful to have support. This might mean talking to trusted friends about your experiences, joining a support group, or working with a therapist. Which brings us to an important point. While a lot of shadow work can be done on your own, there are times when professional help can be invaluable. A therapist or counselor who is familiar with shadow work can provide guidance and support as you navigate this process. They can help you develop tools for self-reflection and offer a safe space to explore difficult emotions or memories. If you find yourself feeling overwhelmed by the process, or if you're dealing with trauma or deep-seated issues, seeking professional help is a wise choice. As you continue with your shadow work, you'll likely start to notice changes in how you feel and interact with the world. You might find that you're more accepting of yourself and others. You may feel a greater sense of inner peace and authenticity. Your relationships might improve as you become more aware of your patterns and triggers. One of the most profound effects of shadow work is the sense of wholeness it can bring. By integrating your shadow aspects, you're no longer fighting against parts of yourself. Instead, you're bringing all parts of you into alignment. This can lead to a greater sense of energy and aliveness as you're no longer expending so much energy on repression and denial. Shadow work can also enhance your creativity. Often, our shadow contains not just negative traits, but also positive qualities that we've been afraid to express. As you do this work, you might discover hidden talents or passions that you've been suppressing. Another benefit of shadow work is improved self-esteem and confidence. This might seem counterintuitive. After all, isn't looking at your dark side likely to make you feel worse about yourself? In reality, the opposite is often true. When we accept all parts of ourselves, including our flaws and struggles, we develop a more robust and resilient sense of self-worth. We're no longer trying to live up to an impossible ideal of perfection. It's important to note that shadow work isn't a one-time task that you complete and then you're done. It's an ongoing process of self-reflection and growth. As you continue on your journey, you'll likely find that new shadow aspects emerge, or that you're able to go deeper with aspects you've already explored. To maintain your shadow work practice, it can be helpful to establish regular rituals or habits. This might mean setting aside time each week for journaling or meditation. It could involve checking in with yourself regularly about your emotions and reactions. Some people find it helpful to work with a therapist or coach on an ongoing basis to support their shadow work. The goal of shadow work isn't to eliminate your shadow. We all have a shadow, and it's a natural part of being human. Instead, the aim is to bring your shadow into consciousness, to understand it, and to integrate it into your whole self. By doing this, you can live a more authentic and fulfilling life. This exploration of shadow work, let's recap some key points. Shadow work is the process of exploring and accepting the parts of ourselves that we typically try to hide or deny. It's important because it leads to greater self-awareness, improved relationships, and personal growth. While it can be challenging, the benefits of shadow work are profound, including increased self-acceptance, creativity, and a sense of wholeness. If you're feeling inspired to start your own shadow work journey, remember to approach it with curiosity and self-compassion. Be patient with yourself, and don't hesitate to seek support if you need it. Every step you take towards understanding and accepting all parts of yourself is a step towards a more authentic and fulfilling life. Shadow work isn't about becoming perfect or eliminating all your flaws. It's about becoming more fully yourself, with all your complexities and contradictions. It's about recognizing that even the parts of yourself that you've labeled as dark or negative have something to teach you and contribute to who you are. As you begin to integrate your shadow aspects, you might notice changes in how you relate to others. You may find that you're more empathetic and understanding as you recognize that everyone has their own struggles and shadow aspects. This can lead to deeper, more authentic connections with others. You might also notice changes in how you view the world around you. As you become more accepting of your own complexity, you may find that you're able to see the world in less black and white terms. You might develop a greater appreciation for the nuances and contradictions in life. One powerful aspect of shadow work is how it can change your relationship with your emotions. Many of us grow up learning to suppress or ignore certain emotions, especially those deemed negative, like anger, sadness, or fear. Through shadow work, you can learn to acknowledge and honor all your emotions, recognizing that they all have a purpose and something to teach you. This doesn't mean you'll always act on every emotion you feel. Instead, you'll develop the ability to observe your emotions without being controlled by them. You might find that emotions you once found overwhelming become more manageable as you learn to accept and understand them. Shadow work can also have a profound impact on your sense of purpose and direction in life. Often, our true passions and desires get pushed into the shadows because we believe they're impractical or not acceptable to others. As you do this work, you might uncover dreams or goals that you had forgotten or pushed aside. This can lead to a renewed sense of motivation and excitement about your life. It's worth noting that shadow work isn't just about looking at negative traits. Sometimes our shadow contains positive qualities that we've been afraid to own. For example, you might have pushed away your natural leadership abilities because you were taught it's not good to stand out. Or you might have suppressed your creativity because you were told it wasn't practical. Part of shadow work is reclaiming these positive qualities and allowing them to shine. As you continue with your shadow work, you might find that it affects your decision-making process. When we're unaware of our shadow aspects, they can influence our choices in unconscious ways. We might sabotage opportunities or make decisions based on unacknowledged fears. As you become more aware of your shadow, you can make decisions that are more aligned with your true self and values. Another area where shadow work can have a significant impact is in how you handle conflict and criticism. When we haven't integrated our shadow, we often react defensively to criticism, seeing it as a threat to our self-image. Through shadow work, you can develop the ability to receive feedback more openly, recognizing that it doesn't diminish your worth as a person. Similarly, shadow work can help you navigate conflicts more effectively. When you're aware of your own triggers and shadow aspects, you're less likely to project them onto others. This can lead to more productive discussions and resolutions in both personal and professional relationships. It's important to remember that shadow work is a deeply personal process. What it looks like for you might be very different from what it looks like for someone else. Some people might focus more on childhood experiences, while others might explore current patterns in their lives. Some might find that their shadow work involves a lot of emotional release, while for others it might be more cognitive. There's no one right way to do shadow work. The key is to find approaches that resonate with you and that you can sustain over time. This might involve trying different techniques and seeing what works best for you. As you progress in your shadow work, you might find that your perspective on personal growth changes. Many of us start out on a path of self-improvement with the goal of eliminating our flaws and becoming some idealized version of ourselves. Shadow work offers a different perspective. Instead of trying to eliminate parts of yourself, you're working to integrate all aspects of who you are. This shift in perspective can be incredibly liberating. Instead of constantly striving to be better, you can focus on becoming more fully yourself. This doesn't mean you stop growing or learning, but the growth comes from a place of self-acceptance rather than self-rejection. One powerful tool in shadow work is learning to dialogue with your shadow aspects. This might sound strange at first, but it can be a powerful way to gain insights. You might try writing a letter from your shadow self, or having an imaginary conversation with a part of yourself that you usually try to ignore. The goal is to give voice to these aspects of yourself and really listen to what they have to say. As you do this, you might be surprised by what you discover. Often, the parts of ourselves that we push away are actually trying to protect us in some way. By listening to them, we can understand their intentions and find healthier ways to meet those needs. Another important aspect of shadow work is learning to sit with discomfort. Many of us have a tendency to avoid uncomfortable feelings or situations, but growth often happens when we're willing to stay present with our discomfort instead of running from it. This doesn't mean you need to overwhelm yourself, but gradually building your capacity to tolerate discomfort can be a powerful part of shadow work. As you delve deeper into shadow work, you might start to notice connections between your personal shadow and larger societal or cultural shadows. We all absorb messages from our culture about what's acceptable and what's not, and these messages can contribute to what gets pushed into our shadow. Becoming aware of these cultural influences can be an important part of understanding and integrating your shadow. It's also worth noting that shadow work can have a ripple effect beyond your personal life. As you become more whole and integrated, you might find that you're able to contribute more positively to your community and the world around you. You might become more aware of social issues and feel called to take action in ways that align with your values. Shadow work is not about achieving perfection or becoming someone else. It's about becoming more fully yourself, with all your complexities and contradictions. It's about recognizing that even the parts of yourself that you've labeled as dark or negative have something to teach you and contribute to who you are. As you continue on this journey of self-discovery and integration, be patient with yourself. Shadow work is a lifelong process, and there will be ups and downs along the way. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small it might seem. Every step you take towards understanding and accepting yourself is valuable. Shadow work is a powerful tool for personal growth and self-understanding. By exploring and integrating the parts of ourselves that we typically hide or deny, we can become more whole, authentic, and fulfilled. It's not always an easy process, but the rewards are profound. As you begin or continue your own shadow work journey, remember to approach it with curiosity, compassion, and patience. You're on a path to becoming more fully yourself, and that's a beautiful thing.